A twist on the V set. Does the 3-5-3-5 stand firm against the 7 or go into complete collapse? Let's roll it out. There's an endless debate in the craps community. Can dice setting actually create a player advantage? Between the grip, the load, the launch, and the landing, the sources of variation seem endless. But if we can minimize those variables with consistent technique, can we actually find an edge? How many rolls can a specific set survive before the dreaded 7 ends the run? We're putting the physics to the test and collecting the raw data. Is it skill or just plain luck? Let's find out on this episode of What Are the Odds? Hello to you. I hope you're having an outstanding day, and welcome to this episode where we'll roll out the 3-5-3-5 dice set. If you're new here, we will roll this dice set continuously until we produce a 7 10 times. At the end of this video, we'll see how all of our rolls stacked up to the standard, which just came on screen. And with our first roll, we threw a 6. We will log that 6 into our dice tracker, and we'll do this for every roll until we 7 out 10 times. So let's speed things up, and I'll catch you on the other side. So this 3535 dice set was very interesting in that it was a similar result to its complementary 3532 dice set, in that it basically bounced out at 60 rolls. We came up 2 rolls short of that. So really, we hit the expectation when it comes to the standard. Unfortunately, we only had a 18 roll streak as our longest roll here, and no number was superior to the 7. But let's look at the individual rolls. Despite no number beating the 7, the 8 did roll as many times as the 7 came out. While the 8 was one of our best numbers, our very best numbers were the 3 and the 11. Each of those came out nearly 2 times more than what was expected of them. And their immediate neighbors, the 4 and the 10, were extremely disappointing, both coming up very short of expectations. It's interesting here that each individual die favored the 5, but the 10 was only produced 3 times, indicating that these 2 die did not come out together, but we'll see that in the hard ways. But before we go to our hard ways, let's take a look at the sister sets. So as seen with the 3 and 11 popping off, those 2 being sisters, they really pop off on the sister set combination as being the dominant sister set. The 6 and the 8 slightly outperformed expectations. The 5 and the 9 less than a roll short of meeting expectations, and significant gap on the 4 and 10. The hard ways were underwhelming, coming up more than 2 rolls short of expectations. The 4 never produced. The 8 only came out 1 time. The 6 exceeded expectations, and here's that 10. We saw each die leaning toward its favorite 5 and 5, but we only had them come out together 1 time. So despite only rolling 3 10s, which we were well below the standard, we actually did produce a 10 the hard way 33% of the time, which was what was expected. Our horns here overall looked really good, rolling about 4 more rolls than what we expected. The 3 and 11 both exceeded expectations nearly twofold. The 2 we were less than a roll short, and we never produced boxcars. And out of our 13 horn rolls, we only had 2 consecutive hits, and neither of those consecutive hits were we able to convert a CE into a horn into a horn hit, which would be back-to-back-to-back hits. So let's sum up this 3535 dice set. With only 58 rolls, we'd put this into the neutral category. It met the standard expectation. Overall, the inside box numbers were performing as expected. We saw the 8 overperform and offset a little bit by the 5 underperforming. And while no number beat the 7 with this 3535 dice set, the 8 did tie it, coming out 10 times. And you'll recall the 3 and the 11 were the top performers here, almost exceeding their standard by 2x. And the 4 and 10 were very, very disappointing underperformers. The hard ways did come up short by more than 2 rolls. Where the 6 did exceed the standard, the 10 met, the 8 fell short, and the 4 never emerged. And horn rolls were a great story. We threw 13 of them versus the expected 9.7, and we only had 2 consecutive seal horn, better horn hits, and none of those resulted in a parlay from CE to horn win. And that's going to do it for this episode of the 3535 dice set. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next episode of What Are the Odds?